Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about that 20-foot bullpen, but let's take a look at this sequence. Fastball middle to slightly middle up, maybe at 96, and he fouls it off. You can see he's a little bit late. He comes back with 98, middle up, and this is probably at the very top of the strike zone, maybe even a ball. But you can see he's also late, and you can see that he added just a tiny bit of speed to that. But the question is why did he chase that? And the reason that he chased it is because when you look at these two on top of each other, for that 20 feet that we talked about yesterday, and let me put a clock up here so that we know what the time is, but the clock in the upper right-hand corner is going to show us that at 20 feet, which is roughly there, those are still right on top of each other. They just start to separate at just past 20 feet. And they're still really close all the way up until it's a little bit too late to do anything about it. So that's an example of that 20 feet. And now if we look at one of the next pitches in this sequence, you're going to see a hard slider that he throws, that he takes like a champ. And the reason he takes it is because at 20 feet, you can see at 10 feet, it doesn't look like the same pitch. Those are in different tunnels. So immediately out of the hand, they start to separate, and by the time they get halfway, or 10 feet, halfway to that 20-foot mark, they're already completely separated. So they don't look anything like each other. So now let's look at another pitch in that same basic sequence, and let's look and see why he did chase this one. Again, at 20 feet, these are literally right on top of each other. And then they start separating after that, and he gets the swing and miss on that slider. But it has to do with the visual that he's creating. So now let's take a look at how you do this in real life. Just really simply, you're watching a bullpen. Your pitcher's over here, your catcher's over here. When the catcher catches a pitch, middle up, you're standing somewhere in this vicinity and you're watching the ball go by. Okay? Now, as soon as the ball goes by and the catcher says that's it, you caught it middle up or slightly up and in, then you eyeball the spot right here. You find that spot because that's where the ball crossed when it hit this middle up spot that you want to try to find. Okay, so now once we've spotted that level, then we get a small little target. You can use this on a L screen, you can use it on a cage net. I use a curtain net that goes across, but you place this little thing at the exact same height that you just eyeballed a few minutes ago. And so now you have this at 20 feet away. So you throw your 20-foot bullpen, you throw a fastball in here, you throw a cutter in here, you throw a changeup in here. And every time it hits that spot, you know you have your tunnel right. Do you have everything perfect? Unlikely. But once you've gotten to the point to where the player's loose and he throws that fastball that's exactly at the spot that you want in the strike zone, and I'm going to suggest middle up to start with until you can finally pinpoint that. But once you get this spot marked with your fastball, then every pitch that you throw, every changeup, every curveball, every slider is going to end up in a different place in the strike zone, but they're all going to hit that same spot. So when you look three different pitches, they're going to look alike to that spot, and then the curveball ends in the dirt, the slider ends in the strike zone at the very bottom, the fastball ends at the top part of the strike zone with plus velocity speed on it. So that's basically the reason for the 20-foot pin. All you guys that do camps and clinics and have a boatload of things that you want to try to accomplish at once, you could have 10 of these lined up on a long net and be talking. You're on one side talking to 10 guys at a time while they're working on their stuff. So it's one way to be able to start to learn how to tunnel pitches, but it's also a way to get very succinct with camps and group settings where you have to deal with a lot of players at once.